You've probably heard of Elon Musk,
The billionaire behind Tesla, SpaceX, and a bunch of futuristic ideas. He's often praised as the guy trying to save humanity by solving our biggest problems, especially when it comes to clean energy. His electric cars? Game changers for sure. But here's the twist no one talks about. Even though Tesla runs on electricity, that electricity still mostly comes from fossil fuels. So are we really solving the climate crisis or just shifting the problem? Now, what if I told you that someone from Africa just flipped the entire energy game on its head? Seriously, one man has created a new technology that doesn't rely on gas, electricity, batteries, or even solar power. Instead, his inventions pull energy straight from the environment, using natural radiation that's already in the air around us. We're talking about cars, bikes, even household electronics that could run indefinitely, only stopping when their parts physically wear out. No fuel, no charging, no bills, just clean, continuous power. So who is this trailblazer? His name is Maxwell Chikumbutso, a self-taught inventor from Zimbabwe, and his work is turning heads across the globe. He's developed something he calls microsonic energy technology, a system that pulls in ambient radio frequencies and transforms them into usable electrical power. This is more than a breakthrough, it's a revolution. Imagine entire homes, factories, or even cities powered by invisible energy, no grid required. It works in the desert, in a skyscraper, offshore, or even in rural villages where electricity never reached. This isn't science fiction, it's real, and it's got the potential to do what Tesla, Shell, and every energy giant on Earth couldn't. Make energy free, clean, and limitless. Think about the impact. No more energy poverty, no more oil wars, no more utility bills. Africa, particularly Southern Africa, could become the global epicenter of next-gen clean energy. And for the first time in history, the world may look to Zimbabwe, not Silicon Valley, for the future of innovation. Stick around. We're just getting started. In this video, we're diving into how Chikumbutso did it, why no one believed him at first, and what this means for the future of power, money, and freedom. If this story inspires you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this is the kind of innovation the world needs to hear about. Let's get into it. From gas-guzzling engines to today's electric vehicles powered by lithium-ion batteries, transportation has always relied on something, some kind of external energy source. But what if we could break that rule entirely? What if your car never needed gas, a plug, or even a charging station? Sounds impossible, right? Well, that's exactly what Maxwell Chikumbutso, a self-taught inventor from Zimbabwe, has done. He's created something that could flip the entire auto industry on its head. The world's first free energy vehicle. This isn't just another electric car, it's a vehicle that generates its own power as it moves. No fuel, no charging, no plugging in. Ever. Let that sink in. While Teslas and other EVs still depend on batteries that run out after a few hundred miles, Chikumbutso's car makes its own electricity on the go. The secret? A breakthrough device called the Microsonic Energy Generator. This compact system captures ambient radio frequencies, basically the natural radiation floating around us, and transforms them into steady electrical power. This device powers the car's motor continuously, meaning no recharging stops, no fuel stations, and no dependence on the grid. The car is called the Scythe, a name that might one day be as famous as Tesla. It's a joint project between Chikumbutso's company, Scythe Technologies, and a Chinese automaker that supplied the vehicle's frame and mechanical parts. But the true innovation, the energy system at the heart of it all, was built and engineered entirely in Zimbabwe. Here's the wild part. Unlike today's EVs that typically cap out around 300 to 400 miles before they need a charge, the Scythe has unlimited range. It doesn't just store energy, it makes it. As long as the car is running, the microsonic system is harvesting and converting energy from the environment. That means this vehicle could, in theory, drive forever. No stops, no downtime, no range anxiety. If this holds up, it could solve the biggest flaw in electric cars today: battery limits. And it could offer a glimpse into a future where transportation is clean, sustainable, and totally independent from both oil and the grid. We're witnessing a potential game changer. And the best part? It didn't come out of Silicon Valley, it came from Zimbabwe. Stick with us, because the story behind how this car was built, the science that powers it, and what it means for the global auto industry is just getting started.
But here's where it gets even more impressive.
Maxwell Chikumbutso's free energy car isn't just revolutionary because it powers itself, it's also fast. We're talking top speeds of around 220 kilometers per hour. That's roughly 137 miles per hour. That puts it right up there with some of today's top electric vehicles. So no, going green doesn't mean going slow. This car is built for city streets, highways, and even high-performance driving. It's not just sustainable, it's seriously capable. Now let's talk cost. While most electric cars today start around $30,000 and can climb well over $100,000, mostly because of pricey lithium-ion batteries, Chikumbutso's vehicle, it costs just $14,000 to produce. That's less than half the cost of an entry-level EV. Why? Because it doesn't rely on expensive batteries or charging hardware. With no need for plug-in infrastructure, the price tag drops way down. And here's the real kicker. If this car is mass-produced, the price could fall even lower, making it affordable for everyday people, especially in developing countries where cost is often the biggest barrier to owning a clean energy vehicle. But affordability and speed aren't the only headline here. This car could change the entire conversation on climate. Sure, electric cars are marketed as eco-friendly, but let's be real, most of them still rely on electricity that's produced by burning fossil fuels. So while they're cleaner than gas vehicles, they're not completely green. But Chikumbutso's car? It generates its own power. Zero emissions, zero fuel, zero grid dependency. That makes it hands down the cleanest form of transportation we've ever seen. If adopted on a global scale, this technology could put a serious dent in worldwide carbon emissions. And here's where things get really wild. This isn't just about cars or the climate. If this tech goes mainstream, it could shake the foundation of the global economy. Think about it. If the world no longer needs gas or electricity to move around, what happens to the oil industry? We're talking massive ripple effects. Oil-rich nations, places like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and even the US, could face major economic disruption. Entire industries would need to reinvent themselves, and global power dynamics could shift overnight. This isn't just an invention, it's a paradigm shift, one that could redefine how we live, move, and power the future. So, the question now is, are we ready for it?
If this invention is real, and early signs say it just might be,
it could flip the auto industry on its head. We're talking about a complete overhaul of how cars are powered. Gas engines? Gone. Even today's high-end electric vehicles with their massive battery packs? Obsolete. Instead, imagine a world where every car generates its own energy. No fuel, no plugs, no grid, just endless motion powered by ambient energy already in the environment. But the impact goes far beyond cars. Countries that currently hold power because they control oil, coal, or gas supplies would lose their grip. That includes energy giants like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and even the US. Their global influence, built on fossil fuel dominance, could collapse. In its place, a new age of decentralized energy, clean, limitless, and accessible to everyone. Nowhere would this shift matter more than in developing countries, especially across Africa. For decades, these nations have had to spend billions importing fuel, money that could have gone to education, healthcare, or infrastructure. If Zimbabwe becomes the first country to fully harness free energy thanks to Maxwell Chikumbutso's invention, it could completely change its future, from economic underdog to global innovator. Instead of buying energy from the West, Zimbabwe could sell groundbreaking technology to the world. That's a game changer, not just for Zimbabwe, but for the entire continent. It would mean rewriting the economic script that's been in place for over a century. Of course, not everyone's thrilled about this. Predictably, Chikumbutso's technology is already facing pushback. It's being criticized, questioned, and some say even suppressed, but that's nothing new. History is full of visionaries who were mocked and doubted until they changed the world. And now, all eyes are on February 10th, 2025, the date Chikumbutso plans to officially unveil his invention in Zimbabwe. If it works the way he says it does, we could be witnessing one of the biggest shifts in the history of energy and transportation. But here's the burning question: how does it actually work? At the core of Chikumbutso's idea is something he calls a microsonic energy device. It's a compact machine designed to absorb natural radio frequencies from the environment, something that's constantly all around us, and convert them into usable electricity. No charging stations, no gas, no fossil fuels, just free-flowing wireless energy. If that sounds too wild to be true, you're not alone. A lot of mainstream scientists are skeptical because it challenges some very big assumptions about how energy works. But then again, so did electricity, flight, and the internet when they first arrived. So, are we about to enter a future powered by invisible energy, led by a Zimbabwean inventor the world almost ignored? According to traditional science, radio waves just don't carry enough energy to power anything big. We're talking tiny amounts, nanovolts, barely enough to blink an LED. That's why, until now, no one seriously considered them as a viable energy source. We've stuck with what we know: solar panels that catch sunlight, wind turbines that spin with the breeze, engines that burn fuel. Clean or dirty, every energy system we've built relies on converting some known input into power. But what if someone cracked the code to go beyond all of that? That's exactly what Zimbabwean inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso claims he's done. And if he's right, this could turn everything we know about energy on its head. Chikumbutso says his breakthrough, the microsonic energy device, doesn't need sun, wind, or fuel. It runs continuously, pulling energy straight from the air around us, and not just from one source. According to him, the system's first stage uses custom antennas to capture a wide band of radio frequencies from the Earth's ionosphere, cosmic rays, natural electromagnetic waves, even Wi-Fi signals and cell towers. Sounds wild, right? It gets crazier. The second phase, where things really break with the known laws of physics, involves a proprietary mix of superconductors and nanomaterials that amplify those tiny signals, somehow transforming them into a steady stream of usable electricity. That power can either be stored or sent directly to run cars, TVs, generators, and potentially even entire buildings. Now, skeptics are everywhere, and understandably so. Chikumbutso hasn't released the full details. Instead of filing patents, he's kept the tech under lock and key, protected as a trade secret. Why? He claims it's to stop major energy corporations from stealing or shutting down the innovation before it can reach the public. But here's the thing: he's already shown it working. Chikumbutso has demonstrated working prototypes of a self-powered car, a television that runs with no plug, and a microscopic generator to top government officials in Zimbabwe, including President Emerson Mnangagwa. If what he's created is legit, This isn't just an invention, it's a revolution. One that could end our dependency on the grid and rewrite the future of energy as we know it. And the world is watching.
What's truly mind-blowing
Is that Chikumbutso's microsonic energy technology isn't just about cars. It has the potential to shake up entire industries. Sure, the self-powered vehicle grabs all the headlines, but his company, Scythe Technologies, is already rolling out other jaw-dropping inventions powered by the same groundbreaking system. Take their self-powered TV, for example, a fully functional television that doesn't need a plug, batteries, or even solar panels. It runs endlessly by harvesting radio waves from the environment. This isn't just a cool gadget, it's the first TV in history that operates without any traditional electricity source. Imagine what this could mean if it goes into mass production. Remote villages, disaster zones, and off-grid communities suddenly getting access to news, entertainment, and digital content. No wires, no fuel, no hassle. Then there's the green power off-grid generator. A half-megawatt powerhouse Chikumbutso claims can supply electricity to 300 homes without fuel or any connection to a power grid. In places where power outages are the norm or electricity infrastructure barely exists, this kind of generator could be a game changer, keeping hospitals running, schools open, and businesses alive, all without relying on expensive fossil fuels or government-controlled grids. For developing countries especially, this tech could flip the energy game. It offers a decentralized solution that cuts out the need for costly infrastructure and dependence on foreign energy imports. And if that wasn't enough, there's also the high-performance racing motorbike, built with the same self-sustaining power tech as the car. Unlike gas-guzzling superbikes or electric motorcycles chained to charging stations, this bike runs forever without stopping for fuel or a charge. According to Scythe Technologies, it even holds its own against traditional fuel-powered racing bikes, making it a serious player on the racetrack and for everyday riders. If Chikumbutso's claims hold up, the possibilities are endless. Picture a future where homes, businesses, even entire cities generate their own energy independently, free from power grids and fossil fuel imports. That future might be closer than we think. Imagine a world where your electricity bill is a thing of the past. Households could power themselves using energy right from their environment. No more monthly charges, no surprise spikes. Businesses and factories could slash their energy costs, freeing themselves from the grip of massive utility companies. For developing countries, many plagued by energy shortages, this tech could mean complete energy independence. No need to pour billions into grid expansions or rely on costly fossil fuel imports. This could be the biggest leap in how humanity uses energy since electricity was first harnessed. But let's be real, big breakthroughs like this don't come easy. The energy industry is one of the most powerful forces on Earth, controlling trillions of dollars in oil, gas, coal, and electricity markets worldwide. If free energy tech like Chikumbutso's takes off, it's a direct threat to these energy giants that make billions off selling fuel and power to billions of people. History shows us that innovators who challenge these massive industries often face brutal pushback, suppression, sabotage, and even death. Think about Nikola Tesla or Stanley Meyer. Brilliant minds who tried to free us from corporate-controlled energy but were discredited, bankrupted, or worse. Now, Maxwell Chikumbutso, a self-taught inventor from Zimbabwe, is walking that same dangerous road. The fossil fuel industry holds the world's economy hostage by controlling oil and gas prices, pulling in anywhere from $7 to $10 trillion a year. Any technology that threatens to cut fuel out of the equation is an existential threat to these power players. It's no coincidence that Chikumbutso has faced assassination attempts, had his patents denied, and been targeted by suppression tactics eerily similar to those used against past free energy pioneers. Now, he's at the heart of a high-stakes battle against the global energy cartel. Like Tesla, Meyer, Schauberger, and Milovic before him, he's met with danger, rejection, and fierce resistance. But he's still standing, pushing forward with a technology that could change everything.
Maxwell Chikumbutso
Hasn't just faced skepticism. He survived some seriously dark threats. He's openly said he's been the target of multiple assassination attempts. In one shocking incident in the US, he was allegedly poisoned, landing him in the hospital for a whole month. Tragically, his business partner didn't make it out alive. And if that wasn't enough, Chikumbutso later found out that 5 hitmen had been sent after him, clear proof that powerful forces are terrified of what his invention could mean. But here's the kicker. None of this made headlines in mainstream media. Beyond threats to his life, Chikumbutso's patent applications keep getting shot down by the US Patent and Trademark Office, which claims his technology breaks the laws of physics. Sound familiar? That's exactly the same excuse used to block Nikola Tesla's wireless energy patents more than 100 years ago. Despite all the roadblocks, Chikumbutso has an unexpected but crucial supporter, Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa. The president has officially endorsed his invention and is planning to launch a vehicle manufacturing plant right in Zimbabwe. If this takes off, Zimbabwe could become the first country on the planet to mass-produce free energy vehicles and put Africa at the center of the next big energy revolution. The global ripple effects? Absolutely seismic. Countries that depend heavily on oil, think Saudi Arabia, the US, Russia, would be blindsided by economic collapse as demand for fossil fuels, coal, and gas suddenly dries up. Trillions of dollars tied up in fossil fuels, electric car batteries, and power grids could instantly become worthless. For Africa, a continent historically exploited for its raw resources, this could flip the script entirely. Instead of just supplying materials, Africa would become the pioneer of cutting-edge energy tech, sparking a new industrial revolution powered by clean, limitless energy. But here's the catch. History shows us the ruling powers aren't going to give up their grip without a fierce fight. The battle for the future of energy has only just begun.
Could Zimbabwe be the first country to break free from the grip of the global energy cartel, or will Maxwell Chikumbutso's story end like those of Tesla, Meyer, and Schauberger, visionaries who vanished after challenging powerful interests? One thing is clear, the fight over this game-changing technology and Chikumbutso's very survival is only just getting started. Isn't it true that history is full of men who tried to help humanity, only to disappear when they threatened billion-dollar industries? Do you think this man deserves protection because he poses a real threat to the multi-trillion-dollar fossil fuel empire? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Should Zimbabwe step up to make sure this breakthrough technology gets shared with the scientific world so it can't be buried or suppressed? Want more videos like this? Hit subscribe and ring that bell icon to stay updated. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.